Good morning everyone. Welcome to my channel. Welcome. I'm back in my craft room. It's fantastic to be back in my natural environment. I've had to have 2 days recovery from the whole trip, which I think is pretty standard, isn't it? You come back from a holiday and you have a rest from the holiday. So it is great to be back. I just didn't really pick up any stitching. I did yesterday. I picked up Henrik. And I did a little bit more work on one of his hind legs. So I think, what's today? Today's Wednesday. So you guys will be watching this video on Sunday. So 2nd of April. So yeah, I thought I'll turn on the camera. I'm yet to have a look at these two pieces to see where I need to add some critters. So I thought we might as well do that. Got a couple little things to fill you in on from the cruise, and then we can draw a line under the cruise. It's done, and I guess wait for the next adventure. So let's have a little look at this piece. This one I sort of felt, I was thinking about it while I was away. I felt like it had lots of critters already because we'd already added this doily in with the little bird. We have a butterfly here. Peter Rabbit, of course, the little bird that is over here, so little birds here. Gosh, it feels like forever since I've looked at this piece. So I think I'm going to let this one slide and see what the next prompt is. I don't think I really have too much more I could add here. Yeah, I'm going to let it go. If I feel like a bit of a stitch one day and this piece pops into mind, well, I can always add another critter. There's plenty of things we can add to our gardens. But I think we'll let that one go. Now let's have a look at this guy. I think this one had a rabbit added to it, didn't it? Let's have a little look. Got so much work to do here. We've got the house to do. We've got all of this flower to stitch, so that's definite something. We've got the garden path to finish through there. So, and I think I got some bees, yeah. And there was a rabbit down the bottom corner, wasn't there? Yeah, there we go. So we do have a critter. The bottom part is really finished. I could do with some prompts to go through there. Yeah, I think I'll let the bunny be and just do some general stitching on the piece. What are we going to do? Let me just open it up a little bit. What inspires me? What do I feel like doing? I wouldn't mind putting a bird nest into it as another thought I had at some point, and it's just popped back into my brain. Depends on the next prompts, doesn't it? There would be a lovely spot here for a tree, potentially, but we'll see. We'll see what the prompts give us. The girls did make a comment. I might be reading too much into it all. A couple videos ago, that the next few prompts are all great additions. We've got our core, we've got our base. Whether I misunderstood or not, I don't know. But I thought, okay, that sort of gives us a bit of a hint of some potential prompts. But anyway, what we might do, I feel like painting this flower actually. Let's have a look at the cottons that I took on the cruise connected to this. I sort of just grabbed the whole lot out of the bag, out of the box that are part of the project. I don't know why I didn't even take the project. You know how it is when you're packing. You just grab it and go. So I've got plenty of colours. Now, I don't have my video projecting to my TV in the craft room, so I hope I stay in focus. I apologise in advance if I don't. We have changed internet providers, I think it's the word, and finally we've got Telstra out of our hair. They're just, don't even get me started. My stress levels will lift trying to run a business with multiple retail stores connecting into the one place with Telstra in the middle. Oh, it's been 15 years of... Anyway, well, there goes any sponsorship I get of Telstra in the future. But we've switched over to a new provider as of yesterday, and it's super, super fast, and pretty impressed. So this video will be the first video I get to upload on the new provider. I think it's Aussie Broadband. I think that's what my husband said. So yeah, pretty impressed. So, well, it's early days. Anything can go pear-shaped, which probably will when it comes to technology. But what the problem is I've got into the craft room this morning, and don't even ask me what time it is. It's like 3:30 in the morning. I didn't do two videos for 2 days. I didn't do a video for 2 days, like I said. I just felt weary and had so much washing to do and lots of cuddles for Bandit. And I haven't got Pepper yet. We're going to pick her up on the weekend. She's up at Harvey Bay. But I got my Bandit back, and I've just been laying in the grass in the backyard, cuddling that big buffet of a puppy dog. He's 1 now, and he's just still a buffet, but love him to bits. And what was my story? For goodness sakes, it's because it's 3 o'clock in the morning, 3:30. It's crazy. So I didn't do a video, and I woke up, and I was just like, ideas started pumping through my head. It was like a switch came on. So I thought, I just want to get in and get some stitching done. So I'm in here, and when I went to turn the TV on to connect the iPad to the TV, what is catching here? Have I got a needle? Yeah, I do. Got a random needle there. The iPad is running on the new network, the iTV, which allows my iPad to talk to the TV. So it projects the iPad onto the TV so I can just glance up and see my work. It is running on the old internet. So yeah, I pretty much, what am I going to do with this flower? I've got a dark colour. So I'm not projecting to the TV is what I'm trying to say. So I've got to be mindful that you guys can see. Yeah, that's better. And I've just got to sort of glance up to the iPad, which is sort of directly above me, of course. So yeah, once I get my hands and my arms in position, I should be right just to settle in and do some stitching. So I'm going to paint this floral piece to the side. I've wanted to do it for so long. I've got a little bit of time on our hands while we wait for the next prompt, which will be coming in the next 24 hours. So, and I am heading to Harvey Bay to pick up my beautiful Pepper from my mate who has been looking after her while we've been away. So I'm really looking forward to that. We'll get to have lots of cuddles. Bandit was beside himself. He was a bit cautious. My friend Lynn had him with his brother Bruce for the time, and she dropped him over, and she stood at the top of the driveway, and he jumped out of the car. He was like, oh, I know this place. And then he just stopped dead, and he looked, and he looked. And you could just see his little brain going, who's that? She's familiar. So I said his name, and he did this little bounce on the spot and then pig rooted all the way down the driveway to me. It was so cute. Oh, I tell you, nothing like puppy dog cuddles. He's still very young in his brain, he just jumps, and he's a small horse in size, so he just about knocks you over. It'd be great when he settles and is just cuddly instead of bouncy and cuddly. He's like Tigger out of Winnie the Pooh. That's what he reminds me of. It's not as bad as what Pepper was when she was a pup. She was full on. He's a lot more laid back. Once he has his little spurt of puppy energy, he's, a pretty cool cat, or pretty cool dog. Speaking of cat, Fudge is bellowing in the background. He and Casper have been like glue. Everywhere I went, I do loads of washing and go to the laundry and then back to the kitchen, you know, just doing general chores. And I'm just going to tie my hair back. I've had a coffee and I can feel that hot rush of caffeine going through me. So just get rid of tie my hair up. Yeah, so the pussycats have been just super cuddly and, oh, should go away more often. It's like the animals appreciate you, especially cats. So I was trying to do Henrik and, oh, they were pacing round and round my chair, and I was like, oh, put the Henrik down, pick up a cat, put the cat down, get back into stitching. Not that I'm complaining. It's very nice to be showered in pussycat and puppy dog love. I just need my Pepper girl back now. She is looking very comfortable at Sue's. Cheeky girl. They've got 2 dogs as well, a Roddy cross and a Staffy cross. And the Staffy, Shelby, she's getting on. Chevy. She's getting on. She's a Great Dane. She's a lovely lady. But she's getting old and grey around the muzzle. She's as cute as anything. Well, these 3 dogs, well, the 2 dogs up there, they have run of the house. Like, they're just so spoiled. And Boof, well, name says it all. Boof's adorable. Gentle soul. They run the roost up there. And I got a photo of Boof, Shelby and Pepper sitting on the couch. Where's my phone? I'll see if I can show you. It's just adorable. So Pepper is learning all of these bad habits, I think. I sent the photo to someone. I got photos every day from Lynn and Sue. It was fantastic. They just kept me in my puppy photos. And the one photo come in of Pepper and Chevy and Boof sitting on the couch watching TV in the morning. And I thought, oh my goodness, these dogs are never going, my dog is never going to see this. So there's Boof sitting on the couch. There's Chevy. Aren't they shockers? And there's Pepper. Look at that. Jeez, gonna need to do some training when we get that girl back here. She's technically an outside dog. She does get snuck in for lots of cuddles. She comes in for breakfast and, you know, you got to have your little corner of the toast with a little bit of egg on it. But technically they're outside dogs. And look at that. They're having a while of a time. They're watching TV, having breakfast. Oh, I tell you. Anyway, what can you do? Love them to bits. So by the time you're watching this, I will be with Pepper. Going to spend the weekend at Harvey Bay. Going to take her to the beach. Lots and lots of cuddles. Oh, can't you tell I'm looking forward to it? Now, I must tell you the latest 2 stories to finish the cruise. The choir. Oh, my goodness. Well, the situation is this. Now, I'm going to make lots of excuses here for my poor attendance leading to the, how would you say, the removal of myself from the choir. So what happened is when we got to the sea days, we were heading back to Brisbane, and there were 3 days. I think in my last video, I think it might have been my last video, I was 15 minutes from going to the, I think it was second last video. I don't know. I've lost track now. Time flies. I was 15 minutes from going to the choir practice. I was tidying up all my bits and pieces, trying to pack up the space that I was working in. And I don't know what happened. I fiddled with some lace and it just went downhill from there, and I missed the choir. Like 20 minutes went by, so now I'm 5 minutes late. And my husband was out and about. don't know where he was. I think he was doing bingo or something. I don't know what he was up to. And I texted him and said, oh, look, I haven't made it to choir. I'm stitching. So we left it at that. And then the next day there was another choir practice. So I did make it to that. And I noted that they had done a lot the previous rehearsal. And I was sort of faking it a bit. They had all these extra arm actions and because I was in the back row with this group of ladies around me, and they were goosing around so much. And if I'm not leading the pack of gooses, I'm definitely part of the pack of gooses. That's just how I roll. So with the mucking around I was doing and the giggling, I really didn't catch up on what we were meant to be doing. There was a lot of people in the choir, even more had joined. So no one really saw what I was up to. But I sort of felt like I was not contributing as one should. And then the thought of standing on stage and barely knowing what I was meant to do was pretty funny. So anyway, did the rehearsal. The next day, the next rehearsal came up, and I was thinking about it all night and going, oh, I'm so half-hearted about this. No, I'll go. Can't be too hard. I know the songs. It's just learning when to put your hands in the air, when to shake your tush, you know, all those types of silly moves, which is more nerve-wracking than then singing the song, because there's nothing worse. You're in a group of 60 people and their arms are to the side and your arms in the air. So I was envisioning a disaster. So I was planning to go to the second last rehearsal, and I thought, so I was like, do I go? Do I not? So I ended up walking down there, and when I got to the room where it was held and they were getting ready, there was a bit of an altercation going on. I don't know the whole story, but I believe, reading between the lines, 2 people were intoxicated. Not bad, but they're pretty funny. And they were in amongst it all in the choir, and they were being ejected from the choir. So the choir master, who was just hilarious at the best of times, he was giving us a subtle chat about our commitment to this professional outfit of the choir. It was all tongue-in-cheek. And I'm sitting there on these chairs listening to this poor young fella trying to wrangle this pack of lunatics. And I thought, oh my goodness. Plus, I just spent about 2 hours working on Percy the Peacock, the additional piece that I've been filming and working on the cruise. So I had a bit of guilt, and I was sitting there thinking about Percy, and I'm like, will I put those sequins on that? No, I like those gems, and all this is going through my head. Then I tune back into what I'm supposed to be listening to. And he says, righto, everyone in your positions. And everyone I was standing sort of next to was in a different position. And I thought, oh, hello. So I quickly looked at the app on my phone, and I had missed another rehearsal. I didn't even realise that it was on. So I was like, oh my goodness. Not only am I a bit vague on some of these moves, I've now got a new position, yet I wasn't here to be told the position. Now, he did make a comment on the first rehearsal that he was going to have a little listen to all of our voices as we sung and work out where we should stand within the group. Now, I hadn't seen that happen, and I had thought it must be going to happen because surely he'd want to place our voices accordingly. Well, so now I had a double whammy. I was no longer in the position I thought I was going to be in. The gang that was around me, they were dispersed, which sort of made sense because there was a bit of a mix of voices amongst them. So I thought, oh, what do I do? What do I do? Do I just go up to Marvin and say, hey, Marvin, listen to my voice. Where should I stand? I've missed 2 rehearsals. Not likely. I'd get in trouble, wouldn't I? So I decided to slink, and let me tell you, slink, well, I did grab a cocktail as I slunk out of the bar area and headed back to the room, grabbed Percy, and spent another hour and a half stitching. So that was the end of the choir routine. Then it came to the day, the final day, where they had this matinee concert, which the choir was going to feature in. You know, when all the dancers and all the different guests would come out for a brief moment and do a small routine, pretty much saying goodbye. So I was in the cabin and I was stitching, and I saw midday was coming up. I'm like, oh, I should go and film it for the girls. I should go. And I just, sorry guys, I kept stitching. So there is no film of the choir. You're going to be so disappointed. I didn't get into the choir because of my poor behaviour. So it was just a disaster. What can I expect? I had stitching on board. A girl's got to choose. You know what the girl's going to do? She's going to favour her needle and thread. So that's the latest on the choir. Now, the other hilarious thing that happened, those husbands, I tell you, we were given the night before, the day before we were due to get off the boat, the ship, the paperwork needed to get back into Australia. Now, for those of you who don't know, in Australia, our border security is very strict. So we have to declare if we've been places like a farm and we've got dirty shoes, or we're carrying anything in the way of plant material, to border security, and they just check it over and give us the green light basically to go in. So it's very simple. But there's this little form we've got to fill out. It's this little orange and white card. It's, you know, about so big, and it has all your details and then a heap of little boxes that you tick to say whether you're declaring anything, or any behaviour, or any substance that might potentially put our primary industries at risk. So it's that type of form. I've done them 100 times. So anyway, these forms appeared in our cabin. So in other words, fill them out, you're out of here in less than 24 hours, and here's the paperwork. So all day we were looking at these forms, sitting on the bench, and I was like, yeah, I'm going to pack and do the forms later. Husband jumps up and he says, I'm doing it all now. And I'm saying, oh, look, it's only 10 a.m. We don't go for another, 24 hours. No, I'm going to do it. So out comes the suitcase, and he's packing everything, fills out his forms, and he's done. So he relaxes back down and he's like, I'm ready. It's all done. I said, I'll do mine later. So I did mine, about 10 o'clock at night. It was the final hurrah. And you know what the main reason was? Is once that suitcase was zipped up, my threads were packed up. That was the gist of it. So I was in no hurry because, I can pick up needlework 10 times a day if I'm just sitting around watching a movie, or, so I wasn't quite ready to pack up. Anyway, I noticed on the bench that my husband's little card had been completed, but he had completed it in a brown pen. Now, it clearly states at the top of the card to use a blue pen or a black pen. And I said to him, you need to redo this because you've used a brown pen. Do you know what pen he used? This one. He used a friction pen, heat-soluble friction pen. And I said, you galah, you've picked up my fabric pen. He's just turned around to that mean, hard blue couch in our room where all my gear was sitting, picked up my fabric pen, and he's completed the form. I said, not only is it the wrong colour pen, if you go near any heat or this sits in the sun, everything's going to fade. I said, that can't be good for a customs declaration form, and they clearly state you need a blue or a black pen. He's like, nah, it's all right, it'll be fine, no problems. I'm like, well, I think you're going to get in trouble. No, I'm not going to change it. He was lying on the bed watching a movie. He wasn't interested in hopping up. It was 10 o'clock at night. No, it'll be fine. I said, I have a blue pen in my handbag. And I completed my card, and I said, I really think you should reconsider and, you know, fill it out again. Nope, he was adamant. I'm like, righto, this will be interesting. And I had purchased, they're from India. It was a shop that was in Wellington. Yeah, it's called Trade Aid. They seem to be all over New Zealand, and they import lots of handmade crafts from different industries through India, Bangladesh, and they're all got a connection to building a community back onto their feet. So it's got a pretty good story behind the business. Well, it seemed to. Who knows? It could be anything. But anyway, I'm not about to get into that discussion. So I purchased a few things from them, just some random knick-knacky things. And one thing I did pick up were these 2 fabric block stamps. One was a whale, it's a whale. It's not a dolphin. The other one's a turtle. And being their timber, I need to declare them. So, which is not an issue because all they do is check to see that there's no active pest behaviour. So, say borers or something. So they have a bit of a glance over it. So when you get to that section of the form, I ticked declaring some timber. Anyway, we get to the section of the get your bag, follow the cues. You're now into the customs section, and they have a look at your little form, check your passport, all of that sort of thing. And I said, oh, I've got to declare 2 timber items. I just need you guys to double check that they're okay. And the young lady said, yep, no problems. You just head over there. And she looked at my husband and said, oh, are you travelling together? And we said, yep. And he says, all right, over there. And she's glanced at his card, and guess what she says? Oh, sorry, sir, but you need to fill this out again because you haven't used the right colour pen. So I've just cracked up laughing, and I'm like, I told you. It was so funny. So we get ushered off to this side section, to this big trestle table with spare cards on it and some pens. So he had to fill it out. She said, just write over everything. You don't need to complete it again. So that wasn't too bad. Filled it out and then made our way to a line of customs officers. And by then I had the little timber stamps in my hand. And I said, you know, can you check them? They look fine to me. They did tell me they had been fumigated, which would be correct. I believe New Zealand requires them to fumigate, as do we here. So, yeah, and I bought it from a well-known company, which doesn't necessarily mean anything either. But anyway, but they just looked over them and said, yep, no evidence of pests actively working in the pieces. So ushered us through. So that's my final cruise funny story. Husband gets us in trouble with border security by using a heat-soluble craft pen to complete his declaration entry form. I tell you, you wouldn't read about it, would you? So, yeah, we got back. Took us ages to get a taxi. So that was a bit of a pain, but that was all right. We got home within probably an hour. Wasn't too bad. It was just hot. We'd come from a very cool environment, with New Zealand being a lot cooler than Australia at the moment, or Brisbane anyway. So it was a bit hot when we got home. Expecting a lot of rain to come. So even, like I said, you guys will be watching this video Saturday, so I believe it's going to be a bit of a wet weekend. So yeah, I tell you, I'm missing the buffet. Oh, you know, the first meal you've got to cook when you get back from holidays? Yeah, that was a bit depressing. I said to my husband, those lavish days are over. You're getting an egg on toast tonight. Then breakfast time came and we're like, oh, where's the buffet? Where's the bechamel muesli? Where's the croissants? Where's the bacon and eggs cooked? Hash browns, sautéed mushrooms, yogurt on the side, a nice fresh orange juice, a Starbucks. It just went on and on. So that's a bit of a slight oh well moment. But it was great. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Thoroughly recommend it. If anyone's considering doing a cruise, try a small one because it's not for everyone. Try and find a 5-day or a 3-day, or, you know, we're going on another one with a heap of friends at the end of the year. They instigated us and then invited us along. Well, let's be honest, I invited myself along. When they told me they were going, I was like, why the hell didn't you tell me? It's a comedy cruise, and it doesn't go anywhere other than just from Brisbane out to the ocean and then back to Brisbane. So I'm going on this comedy cruise, and it's three nights, and they've got heaps of comedians coming onto the boat for the cruise, and quite a few in this group have never been cruising, so it's going to be some fun. It'll be completely different to cruising just, you know, with your partner. When you're in a big group, it's a completely different cruise again. So, yeah, it should be a bit of fun. Really looking forward to it already. I think that's October. I'll have to look the dates out. So, do like a good cruise. I sort of feel like it's the only way to really switch off. When we go visit a country or go visit friends in another state, it sort of feels like you just go. You're constantly thinking about schedules and what to do next, and get a train here and a bus there, and when's the plane. You know, I find I don't unwind. Hubby seems to do all right. He's a bit of a chilled, cool cat, so he sort of leaves all the planning and the rousting about to me. So I tend to get not as much of a break as he does, but cruising, at least, you know, I get a break from home and all the chores that we do. So I am missing it already. Oh well. So my next adventure, oh, I'm a lucky girl, I tell you. It's been pretty lean these last few years on little activities like this, but it's all happening now. I might, instead of picking up that same colour and carrying on in there, it's pretty boring, I might work this one next. I think I'll use this purpley pink. How are we going for time? I've got to hop up and look at the screen. Half an hour's gone. Okay. Oh, sorry. Bump. Did it wriggle? Probably not, because the camera stand doesn't quite touch the table. Not like on the boat. I was looking at some of the videos I did, and there's a bit of a rocket of the ocean happening there. Sorry about that. Not much I could do. It was a gentle rock. Still haven't stitched down all of this. I decided after I pinned it that I was going to unpick all those little morsels and stretch them out, because it seemed to be a different style to what we've done on the other side. So I haven't proceeded any further. So I'm just going to now pretty much fill in these petals. I probably could bring in a third pinky tone, but I'm not going to, because I think it'll get too muddy, and I've got the opportunity to bring white in, and then a green center is what's printed on that fabric. I'm just going to thread my needle again. This needle's probably a bit big for the task. It's a bit of a crowbar, this one. Yep, that'll work. So I'm just filling in the rest of the petal with a little pop of pink. And then I'll come back and lay in some white just to lighten up the center of the flower. I really enjoy painting flowers with thread. I've been thinking a little bit about a project doing some more of this type of work, but I just haven't got around to sorting anything particular. There's always projects popping into my head, and then another one, so I don't know if it'll happen and when it'll happen. I've got some nice pieces of fabric kicking around that are just would be perfect for doing this type of stitching, but we'll see. Well, that looks good. So yeah, what was I saying? So my next adventure will be Paris, joining Lisa Mattock from Forage. Going to Paris with a group of ladies to explore the back streets of the fabric textile industry of France. I can't wait. And I'm going with my two mates, my best mate and her daughter. So it's going to be a great girly trip. And then joining us is my new mate, Susanna, from Vintage Blend Studios. So we've been yibby-yabbering about it. We're getting a little bit excited. So I can't wait. And it'll be the first time Susanna and I've technically met. I feel like she's like my sister. We yabber so much and we've got so much in common because of the world of stitching. So I do feel like she's already my oldest friend. Isn't it funny how you just connect with some people? Yeah, it's going to be great just to chill out and hang with her and run amok. And Lisa sounds lovely. Little things I've seen of Lisa and what she does. So she'll be a lovely lady to hang with for a little while and have a look at all of her techniques and how she looks at fabric, and might just learn something. My mate Marianne and her daughter, we need to get together very, very soon and have a look at how we're going to get around in Paris, you know, transport, because we're not actually staying where all the ladies are staying. Because there was the three of us, to save some money, I've found us an apartment where we get 3 bedrooms, and it was for the price of 1 bedroom with the girls. So just to save a bit of money, you know, that's more fabric we can buy, hey, and threads and French antiques. So I've got this apartment. It's sort of near the Eiffel Tower, but the ladies are staying, the group are over near the Notre Dame. Not on the same side as the Notre Dame, on the opposite side of the river. So I started researching how we're going to get to them. It seems pretty simple. We're about 20 kilometres from them. So if we go by car or taxi, it's an hour and a half, which sounds just crazy, but the first thing they tell you on YouTube is the traffic in France is just insane. So that's out. The next option I had a look at is there's a water taxi that goes up the river, and we can catch that near the Eiffel Tower and follow it right through to where the Notre Dame Cathedral is, and then hop off and just walk, you know, half a kilometre up the road, and we're at the hotel where the girls are. So that's a definite option. I'm yet to explore the price. Not sure if it's really the most economical way, but it would be nice to do occasionally, wouldn't it? Jump a water taxi. How hard would that be? And then the one that I'd say we will do most times is the metro. And I've used Google Maps and worked out that I can walk 650 metres from our apartment to the entry of the metro underground, and then we buy this ticket that allows us to do X trips which will be perfect for the time we're there. We're there about 10 days or 8 days. I don't know. I'm going to have to look it all up now. It's been in the back of my mind for a little while. It's coming up close, but end of the month. So I believe we can, for just over €1, don't quote me on that, I think it was just over €1, we can get this ticket and then use the train to take us for 30 minutes across Paris. It comes every 3 minutes. Isn't that amazing? Every 3 minutes there's a train. That doesn't happen in Brisbane. So that would get us to a stop. I can't remember the name of the stop. I'm sure I'll be really familiar by the time I get back. We then come up out of the ground and we then walk 750 metres up to the hotel where the girls are. So I'm thinking that that's going to be our best option. So yeah, I know the girls are very keen to get together very, very soon. We were planning on doing it this weekend, but we need to go get Pepper. So I said, no, let's catch up over Easter, because they want to look at some additional tours that we can do. And we sort of only have probably a day and a half for any extra activities. So I'd love to see Versailles, the big palace. I've never seen that. We ran out of time when we were there for a week, probably 8 years ago now. We ran out of time and I was starting to get sick. We had been to China for work and then we went to a big Christmas festival in Frankfurt where you go as a retailer and you can order stock. So we spent 3 days tromping around that. It was massive and exhausting, and I'd already had 10 days in China visiting all the factories that we use. So we then went on for a 2-week holiday. We thought, well, seeing we're all that way over there, we'll just continue on from Frankfurt to England. And we did a week in England, which was fantastic, loved it. And then we went across to France for a week. But I was getting exhausted. So it was nearly a month by then. We get to France and I was buggered. I probably needed 3 days sleep. And the first night I was there, I got bitten by bed bugs. So I was starting to get this rash all over me, and I didn't click at the time what it was until I got back to Australia, but I started feeling really off. I was just put it down to being tired. I've since found out that you can actually have a bit of a reaction to bed bugs and they make you feel lethargic. That makes sense, doesn't it? The buggers bite you. You feel lethargic, so you stay in bed so they can keep biting you. So anyway, they had a good munch of me, which was a bit nasty. I got back to Australia and the rash really fired up. Like it was probably a week later. And I said to my husband, I said, I don't feel itchy, but I feel tingly. There's something not right. So I ended up going off to the doctor and he took one look at me and said, oh, where have you been? So I explained. He says, oh, you've been bitten by bed bugs. It's like, great. And I'm like, well, what do I do? How lethal is this? And he just giggled. He said, no, you'll be right. You can just take a antihistamine and they'll settle down. But they can make people quite sick, nasty little things. So, yes, La Petite was the hotel name. Avoid it. They need to bin their mattresses. I'm sure someone's told them by now. That was years ago. So I didn't really enjoy France, and we could have gone to Versailles, but I was just exhausted. So I ended up doing a day in bed, of course. Yum, yum, munch, munch. So I'm thinking we might do that, and we can use this train system, not the metro, it's like an express train. It has a different name. Anyway, and go out to that palace. Or, of course, just find a tour that can take us. And at least with a tour, you get all of the explanations. You know, you actually learn something. Otherwise, you're sort of trying to figure it out yourself. So, and we can do the Louvre. Because we're on a tour each day with Lisa's group, we can only do the Louvre of an evening. And I had a look at their trading hours and they're open on Friday nights late. So that'll work. So we'll go and check out the Louvre. I did want to do Moulin Rouge, but I don't know if we'll get time. I think. So I'm going to stitch a little bit of cream in the center now. So there's so much we can do, but we just have limited time. Limited budget, limited time, because the more you stay, the more it costs, and it was not a cheap exercise to get accommodation. So I'm just going to pop just a few little white stitches in here. I don't need a lot because I'd rather feature the center of the flower with the green. I don't know how I'm going for time. I've been yabbering away here. It's hard work on your fingers, this type of stitching. Start to bruise your fingers. So it's certainly a project you just pick up every so often and do a little bit of stitching. This type of work. How are we going for time? 15 minutes. I'm just sort of scooting around there, picking up just a few little strokes of that white. I don't want a lot. I don't want it to look blocky. Now, as for the green, I'm going to have a think about the green, because there's a lot of green in all those leaves. Whether I'll stitch the leaves is another thing. Don't know. They're so pretty. I want to do them justice. I've got a few greens on my desk here. Do I put green in the center? Don't probably need to stay true to the piece. I do like it. It's not often I'd think to use green. So the artist that created this piece, it's sort of not a bad. I could find some textile, like some fabric, and create a little center with French knots. I don't know. What will we do? I could just fill it full of French knots. I could do some turkey work. I nearly got enough of the cream in there, I think. You can always come back if you find your flower needs a few more little stitches. You can just keep adding to it. It does get hard to pull the needle out, mind you. I was looking at the pieces that the girls all did. There was a big group of girls that did the Fleur Wood class. I believe she does it every 6 months, where you stitch creatively on fabric. It looked amazing. And they've then put them together. All the ladies that participated put their pieces together into a link that has them like a gallery, and you flip through them. You can have a look at everyone's pieces. They're so beautiful. There's quite a few ladies in there that I recognise their names actually. So you've all done a fantastic job. I've been studying your work. It's beautiful. Fleur is very talented. She's a New Zealand artist, and she's running the course again for this second half of the year. So I've actually popped my name down to participate. Not 100% sure if I'll do it yet. I've got so much on my plate. Do I need another project? And I know Rachel made a comment that her fingers were really sore from pulling the needle through so many layers of fabric and doing all of these different stitches. And that sort of resonated with me, that my fingers are pretty sore as it is because I do so much needlework. So, I do like that. It's very fresh. I'll give it a go. Might do some little French knots. So, I don't know. I'll have to see what the workload of stitching is for the second part of the year, because it'd be a piece that I'd be doing off camera just for myself. If you guys want to do it, you'd have to register with Fleur and do the class with us all. You work through the different stages, but I did make a promise to myself that I would do a few classes this year just to keep learning. You just got to. Otherwise you find you do the same things all the time. So it's really a good idea to, if you see something that catches your eye, just do it, and there'll be just building on your repertoire. It's like training, I guess. So I need to have a good think about it. Do I do it? It sounds like it's a lot of work. So that's a lot of work on my fingers. So yeah, have to have a think about it. I could come back from this Paris trip with some new ideas myself and be off on another tangent. Plus, I'm not sure what the Roxy girls are going to do. So they could come up with another fantastic project too that I'll be boots and all in on. So yeah, who knows? I'm going to stop it at that with those French knots and actually pick up another thread colour, I think, just to make that look interesting in there. How are we going for time? We'll probably end up going over a little bit. Doesn't matter, because I'm thinking my brand new internet is going to be super fast, and I will be able to upload lickety-split. I'll put some of this darker green in, I think, just to give it a little bit of interest. And I might make them loose French knots this time. They were quite tight, normal little knots. So this time I will do my 3 wraps, but I'll let it just loosely knot off. That will raise it a little and make it a little bit more interesting. Now I can feel how hard it is just to get this needle through the fabric now. So I just don't know if my fingers are up to a Fleur wood project. Oh, I'd love to do it, but you all look like, those who you're watching that did the project, you all look like you had a ball with it. Just a very fun. Okay. Alrighty. Last knot. Try and get it a little bit looser so it gets a bit of raised texture there. That's better. So it's like layers. Very good. So there's my first painted flower. I've been wanting to get to these flowers for so long. Feels like forever. So I'll just pop that there. And there is the little flower. Finished. Oh, I love it. Well, that'll give me something to work on. All right, guys, I might leave you alone now. I'm going to pick up my Percy the Peacock piece next and film something on that. We've got the wing to do, or the balustrading with the plants, the plant going across it. So that's next. What's the time? It must be still. There's still no sun. It's 5:30 in the morning. So might as well. Got nothing else to do. I'm going to say goodbye and pick up my Percy piece and do a bit of stitching on that next. So thanks for joining me, and I will keep working on my flowers. It'll take a while, but that's all good. It's just the way I like it. All right, guys, look after yourselves. Have a lovely day. Bye.